Long before refrigeration or chemical preservatives, humans had to rely on ingenuity to keep food from spoiling. Among the most fascinating techniques was a fungal method used across Europe and Asia, capable of preserving meat, dairy, and even vegetables for months. This wasn't a random accident, it was a carefully observed and repeatable process. Certain fungi produce natural antimicrobial compounds, creating a protective barrier against decay while sometimes enhancing flavor and texture. For survivalists, historians, and food enthusiasts alike, understanding this forgotten method offers both practical applications and a glimpse into the resourcefulness of our ancestors. Spoilage was one of the greatest threats to survival in pre-modern societies. Without refrigeration, food could quickly become unsafe, leading to disease or famine. Ancient peoples observed that some foods exposed to particular molds or fungal cultures lasted far longer than expected. Over time, they learned to cultivate these beneficial fungi while controlling harmful ones. This knowledge became essential for traders transporting perishable goods, soldiers needing reliable rations, and families storing surplus harvests. Modern survivalists can use this same principle today by incorporating controlled fungal cultures and fermentation to extend food longevity without electricity. The secret of this method lies in the fungi themselves. They create a dense, breathable layer over food, shielding it from spoilage organisms and slowing decomposition. In dairy, for example, cheeses were deliberately inoculated with certain molds, preserving the curds while producing complex flavors. Meats and vegetables were sometimes stored in breathable containers or pits that encouraged beneficial fungi to grow, protecting the food from bacteria. Practically, this can be replicated today by using known safe cultures, controlling humidity, and, monitoring temperature carefully so the protective layer develops effectively. Fungal preservation was rarely used alone. Beneficial fungi often worked alongside naturally occurring microbes to ferment food, producing acids, alcohols, and other compounds that stabilize the product. This combination extended shelf life while, honestly, improving flavor and nutritional value. Modern applications include sauerkraut, tempeh, miso, and aged cheeses, all of which rely on controlled fungal and microbial interactions. By understanding the synergy between fungi and fermentation, survivalists can store a variety of foods without refrigeration, while also enhancing taste and, digestibility. Historical records show that this method was widespread and practical, not just experimental, which is kind of fascinating. Meat could be coated with fungi and stored in cool, aerated pits. Vegetables might be partially buried or wrapped in cloth that encouraged fungal growth. Dairy products were often aged in wooden containers or covered in leaves that contained beneficial molds. Today, these techniques can be adapted using clay pots, wooden boxes, breathable cloth, or small fermentation chambers, creating microenvironments that replicate the protective conditions ancient peoples perfected. Fungi thrive only under precise conditions. Too much moisture could allow harmful molds to take over, while too little would prevent the preservation process entirely. Ancient preservers mastered these microclimates, storing food in cellars, underground pits, or insulated rooms with stable temperatures and moderate humidity. Modern practitioners can achieve similar results by maintaining slightly humid, cool, and shaded storage areas. Even small adjustments, like using damp cloths, clay lids, or partially buried containers, can dramatically improve shelf life while mimicking historical practices. Microbiologists have confirmed that certain fungi produce natural antimicrobial compounds that inhibit pathogens like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. This explains why fungal preserved foods remain safe for weeks or months without refrigeration. Understanding these mechanisms allows survivalists, historians, and food enthusiasts to safely incorporate these methods into contemporary food storage, reducing dependence on electricity or chemical preservatives. Modern applications are honestly surprisingly accessible. Beginners can start with small batches of cheese, cured meat, or even fermented vegetables using safe, well-known fungal cultures. Maintaining proper humidity and, monitoring temperature ensures the fungus forms a protective layer without introducing harmful microbes. For off-grid households or survival scenarios, this technique can dramatically extend the shelf life of perishable foods. Step-by-step fermentation guides and historical recipes can provide practical instructions for recreating these ancestral methods safely and effectively. The forgotten fungal preservation method demonstrates the ingenuity of our ancestors, who turned observation into a repeatable, reliable system. It shows that survival, sustainability, and efficiency often come from working with natural processes rather than against them. For historians, survivalists, and food enthusiasts, mastering this technique offers practical benefits and a direct link to generations who thrived without modern technology. If you want to explore more forgotten survival strategies and timeless historical ingenuity, subscribe to Thermal Vault, share this video with fellow enthusiasts, and rediscover the ancient wisdom that allowed humans to preserve food safely for months without refrigeration.